first season of Game of Thrones featured one of the most shocking and memorable deaths in the history of television, an event that put the show on the map and became one of its biggest claims to fame. Having the courage to kill off such a well-casted, fantastically acted main character, after spending the entire first season building him up, something that most shows would never be able to recover from. Yet they still managed to make it work thanks to the phenomenal writing and respect for characterization. As we have seen from many stories in the past, just how effective a well-written death scene can be, and the impact that it has on the audience's investment. From classic examples like Mufasa in The Lion King, to Boromir in Lord of the Rings, to even characters as minor as Phil Coulson in The Avengers. A talented writer can achieve many things with a great death scene.
These were in Phil Coulson's jacket. Guess he never did get you to sign them.
And then you get stories like The Last of Us 2 that simply boggle the mind and makes you wonder just what the hell they were trying to achieve. Brutally murdering its main character in the most unsatisfying, unproductive, disrespectful way imaginable, essentially dividing the audience and changing the entire point of his story. And I want to take the time to compare these two death scenes and explain exactly how it's done.
How many guards does my father have?
Here in King's Landing, 50.
You wouldn't let anyone kill him, would you?
No fear on that count, little lady.
After the death of Jon Arryn, Ned Stark is summoned to the capital to serve as Hand of the King, under the orders of his best friend, Robert Baratheon, as he now needs someone he can trust.
You helped me win the Iron Throne, now help me keep the damn thing. We were meant to rule together. Well, it's not too late. I have a son, you have a daughter. We'll join our houses.
A decision that was made to unite the families and strengthen the realm turns into a disaster after the children get into a fight that leads to a tragic death.
We found no trace of the direwolf, Your Grace.
We have another wolf.
No, not Lady. Lady didn't bite anyone. She's good.
Lady wasn't there!
The butcher's boy. You rode him down. He ran. Not very fast.
He arrives to a kingdom in disarray, thanks to King Robert's neglectful nature, and is forced to pick up the pieces, and stumbles upon the mystery that cost Jon Arryn his life. That the king's heir is a bastard born of incest, and he has no true-born sons.
He'll be the greatest king that ever was, a golden lion, and I'll give him sons with beautiful blonde hair.
The lion's not a sigil, idiot. He's a stag like his father.
He is not. He's nothing like that old drunk king.
The type of information that could start a war, in the hands of a man with an unbreakable code of ethics and devotion to honor.
Find anything?
King Robert's bastard son.
So instead of trying to keep this information to himself or manipulate the situation further, he does the only thing that Ned Stark would do.
Do you love your children?
With all my heart.
No more than I love mine.
And they're all Jamie's.
Thank the gods. In the rare event that Rob leaves his whores for long enough to stumble drunk into my bed, I finish him off in other ways. In the morning, he doesn't remember.
You've always hated him.
Hated him. I worshipped him.
When the king returns from his hunt, I'll tell him the truth. You must be gone by then. You and your children. I will not have their blood on my hands.
But after the king is mortally wounded in a hunting accident, his dying wish is for Ned to rule in his place, until his son Joffrey comes of age.
You'll rule now. You'll hate it worse than I did. But you'll do it well.
Putting Ned in a terrible situation, trying to explain the truth to a psychotic boy king who has tasted power for the first time.
Is this meant to be your shield, Lord Stark? A piece of paper.
Those were the king's words.
We have a new king now. Bend the knee, my lord. Bend the knee and swear loyalty to my son. And we shall allow you to live out your days in the grey waste you call home.
Your son has no claim to the throne.
Liar!
You condemn yourself with your own mouth, Lord Stark. Sir Barristan seized this traitor.
Sir Barristan is a good man, a loyal man. Do him no harm.
Kill him! Kill all of them, I command it!
Commander! Take the Queen and her children into custody. Escort them back to the royal apartments and keep them there, under guard.
Men of the Watch!
I want no bloodshed. Tell your men to lay down their swords. No one needs to die.
Ned's blind devotion to honor has landed him in a jail cell and put his daughters at risk, with Arya on the run and Sansa now essentially being a hostage, and has managed to get his entire host of men slaughtered.
What madness led you to tell the Queen you had learned the truth about Joffrey's birth?
The madness of mercy. That she might save her children.
Cersei's no fool. She knows a tame wolf is more use to her than a dead one.
You want me to serve the woman who murdered my king, who butchered my men, who crippled my son?
I want you to serve the realm. Tell the Queen you will confess your vile treason. Tell your son to lay down his sword and proclaim Joffrey as the true heir. Cersei knows you as a man of honor. If you give her the peace she needs and promise to carry her secret to your grave, I believe she will allow you to take the Black and live out your days on the wall with your brother and your bastard son.
You think my life is some precious thing to me? That I would trade my honor for a few more years of woe?
What of your daughter's life, my lord? Is that a precious thing to you?
He confronted Cersei in an effort to save her children, and now has finally decided to bend the knee in order to save his, highlighting the tremendous strength of character that he possesses and why Robert chose him in the first place, forever endearing him to the audience, as he confesses to a crime that he didn't commit in order to keep the peace.
I come before you to confess my treason in the sight of gods and men. I betrayed the faith of my king and the trust of my friend Robert. I swore to protect and defend his children, but before his blood was cold, I plotted to murder his son and seize the throne for myself.
He summons the strength to lie through his teeth to ensure the safety of his daughters, and destroys his reputation for the sake of the realm, only to be double-crossed by the monster that he was trying to protect in the first place.
My mother wishes me to let Lord Eddard join the Night's Watch. Stripped of all titles and powers, he would serve the realm in permanent exile. And my lady Sansa has begged mercy for her father. But they have the soft hearts of women. So long as I am your king, treason shall never go unpunished. Sir Ilyn, bring me his head.
One of the most iconic death scenes, and possibly the greatest creative risks I've ever seen in any piece of media. But why is it well written?
You're just a soldier, aren't you? You take your orders and you carry on. I suppose it makes sense. Your older brother was trained to lead and you were trained to follow.
I was also trained to kill my enemies, Your Grace.
As was I.
Like all great characters, it comes down to consistency. After being warned directly by essentially the entire council, Ned stubbornly ignores their every word. A hard man from the north that has no patience for the scheming and manipulation that consumes King's Landing, and believes that honor and duty should come above all else.
Look at you. You know what you want me to do. You know it has to be done. But it's not honorable, so the words stick in your throat.
It's the type of tactical error that you can see coming from a mile away. But what makes it work is it's completely in line with his character, and he's quite possibly the only man in the entire show that would have made this choice, as they have shown throughout the entire season. Even when directly threatened by the king himself, Ned stuck to his principles.
You'll dishonor yourself forever if you do this.
Honor? I've got 7 kingdoms to rule. 1 king, 7 kingdoms. Do you think honor keeps them in line? Do you think it's honor that's keeping the peace? It's fear. Fear and blood.
Then we're no better than the Mad King.
Careful, Ned. Careful now. You're my counsel. Counsel! Speak sense to this honorable fool.
The season took the time to develop every character and every possible variable, making the event much more believable based on the people involved, and giving us a reason to stay invested going forward. Justice for the North, revenge for the Starks, death to the Lannisters. Whatever side you landed on, the potential for great storytelling was still there, even without our main character, thanks to all the work they put in to set it up.
You grew up with actors. You learned their craft and you learnt it well. But I grew up with soldiers. I learned how to die a long time ago.
Now, let's compare that to The Last of Us. After the untimely death of his daughter at the start of the zombie outbreak, we are reintroduced to Joel Miller 20 years later, and immediately making an effort to establish his demeanor by showing him throw the corpse of an infected child into the fire, and displaying the hardened individual he's become. He is hired to sneak a young girl who is proven to be immune to the virus out of the quarantine zone, as they believe her blood is the key to potential vaccines. And throughout their journey, we see her slowly break down his defensive armor and have him learn to love again, getting a second chance at being a father, and having her go from a burden to the most important thing in his life.
Finger off the trigger. Now, who taught you that?
Federal school.
Figures.
A cold demeanor was clearly apparent, but the one trait that they went out of their way to establish the most was Joel's cautious nature. Meticulous, calculated, and utterly ruthless when it came to achieving his goals.
I don't know any girl. Oh! Jesus! Marco!
No. He can't help you. You focus right here, or I'll pop your fucking kneecap off.
I ain't telling you shit.
It's okay.
No.
I believe him.
No.
Culminating in the finale, where he wipes out the Fireflies in order to protect her, after finding out that the creation of the vaccine will cost her life.
Find someone else.
There is no one else. We didn't tell her, we didn't cause her any fear, there won't be any pain.
No, you take me to her. You take me to her right now!
I'm sorry. I have no other choice.
I do.
He chooses his daughter over the world and never looks back. Was it strictly out of love for Ellie? Or was it the selfish act of a desperate father? Did he make the right choice? And what decision would Ellie have made had she been provided the option?
The doctors, they couldn't make any of it work. They've actually... They've stopped looking for a cure.
All of these things combined to make one of the most complex finales, while still leaving it open to interpretation.
You've just come after her.
In Season 2, we catch up with them 5 years later, and see that the event has tremendously affected their relationship, with Ellie refusing to talk to Joel, and Joel in therapy trying to deal with his PTSD. A clear departure from the man who committed to a massacre to save a loved one, as he was fully mentally prepared for that burden in Season 1. We are then introduced to Angry Abby, the daughter of the doctor that Joel killed in order to save Ellie's life.
How did you get in here?
I said unhook her.
I won't let you take her.
Unhook her.
And we see her set out on a mission with the surviving Firefly members to kill Joel and get their revenge. And after splitting up from her crew and disturbing an entire horde of clickers, her stealth mission turns into a fight for survival, and her life is saved by the man she is trying to kill. We have seen his survival instincts displayed throughout Season 1, from pouring the glass on the ground to detect potential intruders, to automatically foreseeing an ambush. The man understands what it takes to survive in this world, and the things that people are willing to do. He is even shown discussing the issues of refugees in the first episode of this season, and yet somehow he doesn't have a single question regarding her identity. Even when she says that she came from the mountain, they don't even bother to show his reaction, when he's the one person that would be the most concerned. Who is this man, and what the fuck have you done with Joel? I understand that they're in a rush, but the idea of charging into a group of armed strangers just doesn't work with this character after everything we've seen. Especially when he's responsible for Dina's safety. But instead, he rides off with the mystery girl from the mountain, walks right into a trap.
Her name's Dina.
Jackson, come in!
Dina?
Jackson!
And he is Joel.
Patrols, anyone!
Tommy, if you can hear me.
Joel!
They take out a needle to try to tranquilize Dina, and Joel does nothing. He doesn't say take me instead. He doesn't try to negotiate knowing how many resources they potentially have to offer. He just stands there and watches as a group of strangers sticks a dirty needle in her arm and hopes for the best.
I'm gonna give you one chance to tell the truth, Joel.
She asks him when the last time he saw the Fireflies was, to make sure that he knows exactly why she's here. But at no point does she ask why he did what he did, because Abby's only character trait is angry. Joel glances back at the attack on Jackson and has a moment of clarity and reminds Abby that he saved her life. Something that should definitely complicate this entire situation.
What life?
So at this point, anyone who is invested in Joel's character and understands just how complicated that night was should be ripping their hair out, watching a man freeze up and refuse to even attempt to explain himself, even when his life is on the line. A group of people traveled miles for revenge but have absolutely no interest in why he did it in the first place. The entire therapy scene in episode 1 was about him wanting to get this off his chest and was a perfect setup for him to tell the truth now, appealing to the rest of the group and making sure that they know the truth regardless of Abby's feelings. And the grey nature of this story is completely neglected as they desperately try to rewrite the past.
18 soldiers. And one doctor. An unarmed doctor. You shot in the head.
The doctor pulled out a knife and stood between a man and his child. He made his choice and Joel made his. He wasn't some unarmed prisoner that he brutally murdered. But instead of showing the actual scene in full, they show the clip of Joel shooting him to suit their narrative, rather than having the talent and the balls to truly address how complicated the situation is. She goes on about her code and how her people don't kill people that can't defend themselves. The exact same thing that Joel was trying to stop her father from doing. The man literally just saved her life and she doesn't even have the decency to find out the truth before she makes her decision. While Joel continues to say fuck all and stares at the screen. Imagine what kind of incredible scene we could have had they acted like functioning human beings and had a rational discussion to reach a reasonable conclusion. But instead, she beats him to death with a golf club and shanks him in the neck. One of the most bullshit, disrespectful, diabolical deaths I've ever seen in my entire life. But why is it badly written? A death scene for any major character needs to be handled with care. And it's even more difficult when it's the protagonist. Where Game of Thrones had the good sense to set up multiple storylines to keep you invested, The Last of Us generally has been focused on the relationship between Ellie and Joel, and any conclusion to their drama is no longer possible after this stupid scene. How did Ellie actually feel about what Joel did? What is her opinion on the man she spent the last 5 years with? And rather than developing it in any way, they violently cut off that plot point and pushed the show in a new direction, forcing us to trade our investment in their relationship for a retarded revenge plot based off a scene that should have never happened in the first place. When Ned Stark died, my investment in the show and his family skyrocketed, knowing just how dirty they did this character. But it was simply cause and effect, and the result, even as tragic as it was something that I could understand and live with. But Joel's death is a pathetic failure of writing, trying to capture the same dramatic energy as Game of Thrones. And in the end, we get a scene that is closer to Glenn's death in The Walking Dead. Cruel and senseless, and an easy way to kill your investment in the series. I will never forgive Abby. I will never like Abby. Joel is not Ned Stark, and Abby is not Jaime fucking Lannister. A character that crippled a child in season 1, yet through the power of brilliant writing, ended up being one of the most honorable and likable characters in the series. And the arrogance to try to think that they can replicate anything close to this with miserable Abby after what they had her do is just insulting. Season 1 of The Last of Us was a simple but highly effective story, and an incredible concept for a zombie outbreak. Yet the heart of the show was still the characters and the stories of struggle and survival. And it seems that everything that made it work has been traded in for cheap drama and over-the-top action. And I have no investment in the redemption of angry Abby. I'm not interested in Ellie's revenge. The Fireflies are basically NPCs following around a miserable hobbit. And the characters in Jackson have barely been fleshed out at all. And now all we have left are annoying ass Dina, plot armor Tom, and discount Glenn. Congratulations, Neil. You managed to piss off an entirely new audience. You had years to learn from your mistakes and correct this stupid decision. But your arrogance has overruled your creative judgment, and now your story is doomed to fail. Again.
If I had to do it all over, knowing where I'd end up, I pray I'd make the right choice again.
I'm sure you would, Sir Alistair.
I fought. I lost. Now I rest. But you, Lord Snow, you'll be fighting their battles forever.
Oh, it's funny. I have waited
No,
so...
just shut the fuck up and do it already.